And Annie is going to talk about something. I think that when we talk about health and wellness, women's health in general, that once it gets to the close to premenopause, menopause, things start getting confusing for women in that age, aren't they? And it's not the most fun. The doctors really don't explain things. Am I right, Annie? In that way that happens.
That is an understatement, Neil. It's a really confusing and can be a very frustrating time in a woman's life. Absolutely.
And especially now we're seeing the changes and sometimes divorce is more prominent during this time period. Changes of life, empty nester phase, all these different things are hitting them all at once. Maybe a loss of a job, and they don't know why their body's changing so much so quickly because we're not educating, right?
That's right. We're not educated. And the other part that is worse is that who you would think would be educating us, i.e., our healthcare providers or physician or OBGYN, they don't receive menopause training. So we've got the blind leading the blind here. And this is costing women unnecessary suffering. It's ridiculous.
What type of suffering are you seeing? From what you've gathered from what the biggest pain points women are going through at this time.
Well, I think that what we don't realize is that there are over 35 symptoms of menopause. And I always call menopause a full contact sport. It affects a woman in much more than just a reproductive organs manner, right? It's head to toe, literally. So we get a lot of women experiencing mental issues, mental illness like anxiety and depression, 40% more likely during perimenopause, Neil. That's huge, right? Now, of course, a lot of women, 75% of women will complain of hot flashes, right? The typical night sweats. These are the cliched symptoms of menopause. A lot of women also gain on, the unwanted belly weight, if you want, the menopause belly, as we like to call it. And it really affects their confidence. And they blame themselves. They're like, what is wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? I'm a bad person. And they start to shame themselves. And it's interesting that you talk about, what is also happening in our careers and potentially in our relationships. It affects your confidence in every single area of your life. Plus, all the other symptoms that we don't have an hour here, so I'm going to keep it short. But it can go as crazy as joint pain to suddenly having acid reflux to having muscular issues. Like, it is wide ranging.
And if you have other issues going on and then throw this at this time, it could be a ticking time bomb for you, meaning like other health issues, you know, uh, fibromyalgia, or you're dealing with certain mood disorders already. You go boom and throw this together, and it's really big. And they're just treating it. A lot of doctors just treating what the previous symptoms were versus these pre symptoms.
Right. Yeah. So you get treated for, oh, Annie, you've got, high cholesterol. We're going to give you a statin for that. Meanwhile, they're not linking it to the fact that this is actually linked to perimenopause. And we should be treating with the root cause, not the symptom, right? This is where we get misguided. So women will be like, okay, I'm going to take this. Meanwhile, there's other symptoms that accumulate. We're never dealing with the root cause, and we're never telling the woman, hey, there's actually a lot of things that you can do. Menopause is an invitation to change, Neil. Okay?
Okay.
What we used to do is no longer serving us, right? So we now need to, the body is changing, so we need to adapt and give it what it needs now.
So give us some examples of what you recommend without, consulting you. You make sure you schedule a call with Annie about what things they should be doing.
Yes. So lifestyle wise, let's just talk about lifestyle. And this is a tough one, but we need to really start taking care of our stress. It's time to really do stress management techniques. And it's going to look different for many women, right? Some women will love journaling, reading, taking time for themselves. It's a very important time to manage the cortisol response because this is really creating a lot of inflammation in our bodies. It's contributing to the unwanted weight gain, pardon me. So it's going to help many other things. The other thing that I also love to talk about is the fact that now this is time to stop the big cardio sessions, right? The big orange theory and all of those things because they're no longer helping us. And I'm a cardio addict, right? So this was hard for me to do, right? And I'm an endurance athlete, marathoning, Ironman triathlons. And I was like, what? I got to stop that. You need to stop with the long, big cardio and now embrace strength training. This is what's going to help us. It's going to protect our bodies. It's going to help with that weight gain, but it's also going to protect our muscles, our bones, all of those things. And then we need to change the diet, and that's a big conversation. And I invite anybody that wants to talk about that, to book a call with me, 100%.
I think that's the thing is you got to look at specifically when you get older, the exercise has to be different. It's not just
Yes.
like because your metabolism changes. And then during this time period, it sounds like your metabolism changes as well, right?
Yes, metabolism changes and we are very much now becoming what we call insulin resistant. So we may have heard of this terminology because of diabetes, but we are much more likely, Neil, to become pre-diabetic and diabetic as a consequence of the fact that estrogen has dropped, believe it or not, and it has affected insulin. So there's a lot of kind of what? Right? Insulin has a relationship with estrogen, but estrogen, women have estrogen receptors throughout the entire bodies, right? So it affects us in many different ways. So we absolutely need to make many changes.
Make many changes, and those changes have to be very, very important and in so
Yeah.
many ways to look at those things. Now, Annie, listening to what you're talking about, I think that what can people do first before even contacting you? They should start to do their own research. They should start asking, they should be their own advocate, wouldn't you agree? And start to ask,
100%. You need to get in the driver's seat of your health, right? You need to get in the driver's seat and go, what do I need to do? So research is really important and not on TikTok, even though there's some good resources there. You know, I'm advocating for reliable scientific sources because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And sometimes, Susie and Judy out there will be like, well, this is what I did and this is what I did. But the fact is that menopause is not one size fits all. We all have a different menopause experience. So you need to go to the trusted scientific sources. The North American Menopause Society is a great resource for women. This is trusted, it's verified, and it's a really great place for women to start. The other thing that I also, tell all my clients, and when I speak on these podcasts, is I say, start to track everything, all the symptoms, so that you're informed with data, so that you understand, there's some patterns here happening, right? Even if it's like, wow, I got a migraine, what does it have to do with menopause? It doesn't matter. Write it down. Arm yourself with more information so that when you visit your healthcare professional, you actually have some data, some basis of conversation to share with them.
that's important. You got to have that data. You have to be able to put all those things together to make it happen. And if someone books a call with you, how they book a call?
Yes, so very easy. We'll be sharing a gift for everybody as well today, a menopause essential supplements for women in midlife. And there will be my contact information. I have a complimentary call that women, can book into and see if, what they need is a fit and how we can work together.
Where's the best place people can go then?
Yes, vive.ca, veev.ca. There's lots of information there, and there's a book now button that is really easy to find.
Well, I think it's very important. I think anyone that is in this has these questions. What a great resource to have. Because again, your healthcare professionals are not telling you these things. You're just thinking this is just this time of life. It's part of getting old, and let's just suffer through it. And then that suffering can lead to lots of health issues that shouldn't have happened. So I appreciate it, Annie. Thanks again.
Yeah. Thank you for the interest in the conversation, Neil.
All right, thanks.